Hey everyone, it's Chef Nick Peters Bond here, and welcome to Commanding Your Kitchen. On today's episode, we are going to be making a restaurant-style crab cake. This recipe is something that I've been developing over the years. This recipe first came about a while back now when I was a personal chef for a mental health rehab facility, and I cooked dinner, breakfast, and lunch and dessert for all the patients at this establishment. So this was one of their favorite dishes that I used to make, and it's carried along with me through different restaurants, just with some slight tweaks to make it seasonal or kind of change it up a bit for each menu change. But the crab cake is such a staple appetizer recipe that I think every restaurant has or should have on their menu. It's just a great bite, and you can do so much with it. It's really versatile. So let's start making the crab cake. So we're starting with lump crab meat. You could use jumbo lump if you're feeling bougie or fancy, or you could use claw meat if you wanted to save on some cost. I always suggest picking through this a little bit first to make sure there are no extra shells. So that goes in my bowl. We are adding some minced red bell pepper and some minced cornichons. I would say these are optional, but I do like the crunch that they give. You could also do capers instead of cornichons, or maybe some sweet relish if you don't have cornichons on hand. They're just fancy, like little pickles. It's also going to get some panko breadcrumbs. And all the full amount of this will be on my Patreon page that I'll link below. This is just one egg lightly beaten. This is kind of my little secret weapon. I have Worcestershire as well as a couple dashes of soy sauce. I just like the umami flavor that it gives the crab cake. I'm going to be using, it's about 1/8 of a cup of mayonnaise. I also have a teaspoon of sriracha. That could be optional. You could do a little bit of paprika instead, a couple dashes of hot sauce. I just like the flavor it gives. In this bowl, I have ground mustard, Old Bay, lemon zest, salt, and pepper. And these ingredients are all to taste, but I will link the exact ingredients on my Patreon page when I post the recipe for that. And that's it. So then you want to gently mix this crab cake around. So you're going to want to mix all of your wet ingredients ahead of time. That way you just don't break up the meat as much. I had mine already pre-measured and kind of already mixed together with the egg and stuff. But you want to just gently fold in the crab meat in with the other ingredients. So as you can see, I'm not breaking it up too much. That's kind of the whole point of a crab cake, is you put those nice juicy pieces of sweet crab meat in there, especially when you're mixing it. You don't want to ruin that. And so I'm going to put this aside in the fridge and let it sit for about a half an hour just to firm up and chill. And you can see still has all the crab cake pieces. You have some flecks of the red in there. It's really pretty, and that's going to be delicious. So while the crab cake is in the fridge, kind of just setting up, I'm going to start making an aioli. This is going to be a Calabrian chili aioli. You could also substitute sriracha for the Calabrian chilies if you don't have that. I'm just on a Calabrian chili paste kick. But a teaspoon of stone ground mustard. The remaining half of that went into the crab cake. I also have 1 minced garlic clove, some Calabrian chili paste, and salt and pepper. If you don't have Calabrian chili paste, I'm kind of on a kick with that right now. Please use, you could use a pinch of paprika, or if you want it spicy like I do, for this recipe, you can use sriracha. That's another great alternative. Also, it's the juice of half a lemon. And then you're just gonna whisk this pretty well. And that mustard in there is also going to help emulsify. I think a lot of people get concerned about aiolis at home, about it not being thick. You don't have to do this by hand. You could easily do this in a food processor. It would be a lot faster. I just wanted to show you, if you did want to do it by hand, you didn't have a fancy food processor, this is how you could do it. Once all your ingredients are mixed up, you're going to want to drizzle in some sort of neutral oil. Here I have vegetable oil and olive oil, a blend. Some people like to use all olive oil for their aiolis. Some people like a more neutral oil. In this case, I opted for a mixture of both. You're just going to want to really slowly stream in your oil. And what I'm doing here is basically emulsifying the ingredients, that mustard and egg yolk and lemon juice, and then you slowly streaming the oil. And then you'll see, so maybe what did I put, half of the oil in, you can already see it's already starting to get thick. That's like a gorgeous like salad dressing consistency of like an emulsified vinaigrette. If you wanted to do that, you could opt out of the egg yolk and make a salad dressing like this as well. Keep drizzling in, and it's going to get pretty thick. I may need to add a little bit more oil depending on the consistency. and taste too. It depends on how thick you want to do it. All right, so the rest of the oil goes in. I'm gonna do a little bit more oil. As you can see, it's thick, but it could use a little bit more. All right, this is the finished aioli. As you can see, it's a beautiful mayonnaise consistency. It'll be great for putting on our plate. Let's give it a taste. It's really good. Once the crab cake mixture has been chilled for about 20 minutes to a half an hour, we are now gonna form our crab cakes. This also stage, you don't wanna overwork this. Remember, you can also, if you would like, bread these. I'm choosing not to. I like the natural, there's already breading inside there for me. I like the natural crab cakes by themselves. You're gonna take a portion of it in your hand. Maybe this is like 1/8 of a cup, and I don't wanna touch it too much. All I'm doing is forming it into like a little patty like that. And you can make them higher, wider, bigger. I kinda like that like short. And this is just beautiful. It has those giant pieces of crab meat in there. Don't worry about it being a little bit wet. You know, you don't want to have a ton of breading in these. If you're gonna spend the money on crab meat, especially if it's jumbo or lump crab meat, you know, don't go crazy. Don't beat it to death. You just want to really gently pat these together, and they will start to form in the pan because we have that egg in there, as well as those binders like the mayo and stuff. All right, so you can see I have my crab cakes all made up here. This recipe makes 4 to 5 crab cakes depending on your size, or you could probably get more out of it too depending on how big you want to make them. These are decent sized ones. I would give somebody like 2 of these as an appetizer for the table, something like that. In my pan I have preheated at medium high. There's maybe a tablespoon of oil in there. You don't need too much oil in these. So give it a second. I'm gonna put one of these in. I do like to kind of take them and reform them almost before they go in the pan, just to kind of bring everything back together because these are delicate, because the majority of this recipe is all just crab meat. All right, you can hear that slight sizzle. You don't want to overcrowd your pan, so right now I'm only going to put 3 in at a time. I'm going to let these cook for 2 to 3 minutes on each side on medium heat. Keep an eye on them, but don't play with them too much once they're in the pan. You don't want to have them break apart on you. So once they are flipped, you can see they have a really nice golden brown color on them. Don't fidget with them. It's okay if a couple little pieces fall out. It's not a big deal. So you can always kind of really push them back together. They will stay together. So there you go. That's the crab cake in the pan. That's flipped once. I'm gonna let it cook 2 more minutes, 2 to 3 more minutes on the other side, and then we'll take them out. All right, so the way I plate the crab cakes is I take some of that really nice aioli mayo mixture that we did. You know, I love a good drop and drag. Quick little swoosh on the plate like that. Then I'm gonna take, I'm serving mine with just a little winter green chopped salad. You could serve yours with nothing, just as an appetizer, or you could serve them with a couple lemon wedges, which I'll show you. You don't have to do a salad. I just kind of like the textural contrast it gives. All right. I'm also gonna take a Surprenant orange. These are citrus segments. Citrus is really in season in the winter. There's a couple of oranges. I think maybe 5 pieces will be good. Kind of haphazardly placed on there. All right, now it's time for the crab cakes. The reason why we are here. And there you have it. That is our lump crab cakes with a Calabrian chili aioli, and I served mine with some orange segments and a winter chopped salad. So that was it. Easy, right? I mean, fairly easy. I think that crab cakes are such a great staple recipe to have, especially if you like to entertain. Valentine's Day is coming up. Make this with like a filet mignon, and you know, it's such an impressive meal. If you like videos like this, or you like a specific video, please give it a like and drop a comment down below on what you'd like me to do next on this channel. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and press the bell notification button. That way you are notified when I post a new video. I try to post videos every Thursday. Sometimes I'll drop a surprise video in there. And as always, you got this.